Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. It's time for another Mass Make Monday, and if you're new to my channel, what I do is I set a timer for 45 minutes and try to see how many of a particular item I can make in that time. Today we are going to make vellum and book page pockets, and I've already gone ahead and done all my cutting, but I will explain to you my measurements so that if you want to make these the same way, you know how I came up with the measurements for my book page. And I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer and we'll get crafting. All right, so I have a variety of vellums. Some of them, like this one, which is a Liana Scrap's printable, are printed vellums, so I printed those myself. This one, and there's some more in here that are Halloween, is a pattern vellum I bought at Michael's. This I bought last year at Christmas time, and the Halloween one I bought this year. And then this is some coffee dyed vellum that I stamped on. And if you're going to stamp on vellum, you're going to want to use an ink like StazOn, which is a solvent-based ink, because it will actually dry on non-porous surfaces, and vellum's not porous, but it's not as porous as regular paper, if that makes any sense. So it does not like a pigment ink or something along those lines. And somehow I think I need to trim this up. I think the measurements may be off on that one. We'll set that one aside, and I'll start with this one. So you need to decide how big of a pocket you want to make. Cut your piece of vellum to that measurement, and this one is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And then what you do, because what we're gonna do, because if you're familiar with vellum, it's kind of tricky to glue vellum down and not have the vellum show. So what we're gonna do is score 1/4 of an inch on either side and fold it over, and 1/4 of an inch from the bottom and fold that up to create our pocket. So since this is 3 3/4, sorry, it's 3 3/4 across. Am I even on screen up there? Yep, okay. It's 3 3/4 across. I added 1/4 of an inch for one side and 1/4 of an inch for the other, and cut my piece of paper to 4 1/4 inches. And then since it is 6 1/4, I cut the piece to 6 1/2. So I added 1/4 inch on the bottom. Now my plan is to glue these into books, so I'm not too worried about the top edge. But if you are worried that your top edge is going to be a little fragile because you're not planning to glue them in, I would suggest adding another 1/4 inch and folding over the top. All right, so we're going to score 1/4 inch on this side. I'm just going to turn that around and score 1/4 inch again on this side. Whoop. And 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. And then what we'll do is do all our folds, and I'll just show you how to assemble one, and then we'll assembly line all of the scoring and folding and assembly kind of thing. And of course, my dog has been sleeping quietly in the other room for like an hour. The second I start recording, he comes in here because he's thinking he wants to go out. And then we just slip our piece of vellum in. And apparently my measurements are a hair off, so I'm just gonna grab my little guillotine paper trimmer and take a hair off the edge there. And I'm gonna have to go let a dog out because he's gonna be Mr. Antsy Pantsy Butt. Hopefully that will now fit. Still need a hair off on that side. Let's just grab some scissors because it's not fitting in my little trimmer. Just take a sliver off so that it'll fit in. And then I will pause everything and go let a dog out because he is pacing about. All right, I am back, and let's restart that. Okay, so before we glue this little square down here and this little square down here, we don't need. So I'm gonna grab my scissors and I'm gonna just sliver a little to the side of the score line and a little to the side of the score line. And then when it folds up, we've got a nice mitered corner. So in case you can't see what the heck I'm talking about, let me grab a pen real quick and show you. So we've got the score line here and the score line here. So we don't need that little box there. So we're gonna cut that away. And if you go a little bit up from the score line and angle inward, and then a little to the side and angle inward, you end up with a nice mitered corner, like so. And barking dogs out in the yard. Okay, so we're gonna stick our piece of vellum in our pocket. Still, for some reason, something's not quite straight. Probably the book page is not entirely straight. Let's sliver a little bit more off this edge, just to make sure we can get everything fit in. And then I'm gonna grab glue. And I'm gonna stick this in, apply my glue along this side. So this is gonna be a tall, somewhat skinny pocket. And so by folding it over, it eliminates any concern about the glue showing through our vellum. And then go like that. And so there's the pocket. Let's see, do I have my little handy dandy or something? Okay, that'll work. And so there you go. You've got a pocket and you can see through it. So that's one done. So now what we're gonna go do is I'm gonna go through and do all of the scoring on our book page, and then all of the trimming, and then all of the installation. So I'm hoping I didn't get too ambitious with the number of ones I prepped, but we shall see. Now, if your book page is a little on the brittle side, sorry, I've got stuff catching on things over here. What you can do is use a little bit of washi over the edges to help that along. You could also, instead of doing the fold over, use washi to attach your book page. So if you cut the book page to the exact same size as your vellum, you could just put washi along the edges to attach them together. This is a printable by my Porch Prints. It's their new Autumn Whimsy set, which, oh, the pages in it are so pretty, and I'm such a sucker for autumn stuff. I'm like, it's my favorite season. And so when I saw they've got a collaboration, I don't know, I think it was I think when this will air, it'll have been last week, so it will be over. But using that kit, and I saw it and I went, oh, pretty fall papers, I must get them, because I'm a sucker for fall, my favorite season. All right, which is a shame because I live in Florida, so we don't ever have a fall. So again, I'm just going around and doing all my little scores at a 1/4 inch. And the reason I'm doing it over here is it's easier to reach than in that corner. This is also on my Porch Prints printable. I will leave links to the digitals that I use down below. I'll also see about leaving a link to the vellum I used, because I picked that up on Amazon. It's a printable vellum. I think it's meant for, you know, doing like wedding invitations kind of thing. And I was initially very disappointed because I thought it wasn't going to work because my printer wouldn't grab it. And I figured out the solution was to put a little bit of just making sure I have the right direction, some of my painter's tape. I think this is going to end up needing washi on the edges because I can feel that it's potentially cracking as I'm scoring it. And this is a printable by Liana Scraps. So it was not grabbing the paper, like it was misfeeding every time, and I was like, no, I was so upset. And I was like, let me try something. And so I took my painter's tape that I have, which is a thin low-tack tape, and attached it over the edge. And give me a second, I'll show you what I mean. I put just a little bit on the side that got printed on, so that when I peel it off, we'll have a blank spot, and then more of it on the back. And it took the paper when I fed it in this way. So if you get a printable vellum and are having issues with your printer not wanting to pull the vellum through, try that and see if that helps, because yeah, I was really, really concerned I wasn't going to be able to print on the vellum, and I was going to be really annoyed that I bought the vellum and that it didn't work. Because yeah, my printer, I've got a brother, and it's kind of like when I was getting a new printer, it was before I started doing my YouTube channel and before I started using printables. And so I was mostly going to print photos. So it was between the brother and an Epson Eco Tank, and I just was worried with the Eco Tank because I was gonna have to fill tanks, that I was gonna have issues with that. And so this is the vellum I bought at Michael's. So I decided to go with the brother printer because they have like tank-like cartridges, so that the cartridges hold more ink than your typical regular cartridge ink printer. So it's kind of a between an Eco Tank and a regular printer. But it's a little fiddly because it's one where, you know, it doesn't have, like, you can't, it pulls the paper up and prints on the underside of the sheet, so it jams if you put in paper it doesn't like, and it doesn't like anything other than regular paper most of the time. I've got some what do you call it, I'll think of it in a second. Oh, some transparency sheets that are supposedly, you know, you can print on using a inkjet printer, that it does not work with at all. And then it didn't like the vellum, and some other stuff I've tried printing that it decided was too thick. All right, we're gonna trim this piece down. Now this is a stamp by Creative Expressions, and I coffee dyed this vellum, so if you want some antique-y looking vellum, you can coffee dye vellum. It works great. Let's just trim a little off this edge. And I think we're good. All right. And yeah, I stamped this using Stays-On, and it didn't get the greatest impression, probably because the vellum's a little warped from the coffee dyeing, which, if you notice, I've got black on my fingers. It's from the Stays-On ink. I got some on my fingers as I was trying to stamp that. So how's everybody doing today? I'm actually filming this on Sunday, which I usually try and film on. Oh, this is gonna need to be trimmed down some more because that's too long, and that's way too long. What the heck did I do here? Okay, we're gonna need to do some adjusting. All right, let's see if we work widthwise. Is it possible I might get everybody done in the allotted time this time around? What on earth did I do here? All right, how wide do I need this piece to be? I need this to be 3 1/4 inches wide. So let's get it to 3 1/4 inches. Just trying to decide which side I want to trim it off of. We'll go this way. All right, so width-wise, that should be correct. Now, height-wise, this piece is 5 1/4. So this needs to be 5 1/2, and it's 6 1/2. Okay, apparently there was some mistake in cutting. All right, so let's cut 1 inch off. And now we can, that's a little off. That's fine though. We'll just do that. And that'll go there. All right, so now that we've done all of our scoring, we can move the scoreboard out of the way. And now we will get to our folding and cutting. Ooh, this one's gonna need washi. This is a antique book page. Oh yeah, this is definitely gonna need washi. All right, you'll get to see the whole, how you would do it with washi, because I think this is gonna crumble apart. The bottom piece is like coming off. All right, we're definitely gonna need to pull out some washi that will go nicely with this piece, because yeah, that's all gonna need to be washied, and it's still not right width-wise. All right, this one's 3 1/4. Let's put, oh, so I was way off there. All right, must have done the 3 1/2 instead of 3 1/4. All right, let's trim that piece off on that side and trim from this side. And that went all kinds of weird. Trim that again. All right. That will now fit in there, and it's still all kinds of wonky. All right, let's glue this one in place, just so that I don't have the paper pieces ripping off, because I do still want them in there. And like now it's too narrow. Like I don't know what the heck happened there. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna put the glue on the edge up here so we don't end up gluing our pocket closed. This one's just not cooperating. I think it's that the book page is all kinds of out of whack, possibly. All right, and we'll put this piece up. Ooh. It's like we're just gonna move all kinds around because we just came off completely, which is fine. What we'll do is come around and put some washi tape on at the end. So let's move on to the next one. That looks kind of out of whack. It does not seem like a straight fold right there. Let's fix that. All right. Oi. And actually, I think before I attach this, I want to add some ink, because that's a little just too wet. All right, so none of my things seem to be correct in folds so far. Like, what on earth is going on here? is 4.5. This pocket is 4.5, but it's not wanting. Hey, we're gonna just take a sliver off again so that it'll hopefully fit nicely. There we go. Yes, ink. Let's just do some, I think we're just gonna grab some scorched timber and ink those edges up. Let's grab a brush, woo, and our scorched timber. Let's see, what's been going on? So Bert escaped into the neighbor's yard the other day, so I've been extra diligent in watching what he's up to. Which he and his brother Powell are roaming in the yard right now. I actually had to take Powell in for his annual vet visit on Friday, which he's not a fan of going to the vet. Like, Bert's fine with it, doesn't really bother him, but Powell gets all kinds of stressed out, climbs all over me. It's like my legs have got scratches all over them from him climbing on me because he was wigging out over being in the vet's office. And then we get home from the vet's office, and when I've been out, like when I go out and run errands or stuff, you know, I get home and Powell needs to, you know, check me out with a few sniffs. And if I've been around another dog, he like glues his nose to my legs, like a dog nose glued to my knee, which kind of tickles. But we get home from the vet's office and Bert's all like, "Oh my God, you guys are back. I thought you would abandon me forever." Craziness. And he's like, "And now I need to go in the yards now, Mom." So I go to let him out in the yard, and Powell walks to the door with us and starts sniffing my leg. And I'm like, "Dude, you were with me. I took you to the vet." He's like, "Where have you been, Mother?" I'm like, "You went with me. We were out of the house together." So I think I'm gonna ink this one as well. And I'm gonna grab, do I have it? Where is it? Uh-oh. Dogs be going off. I've got inks everywhere right now. I've been crafting at a table. Good, I have Rustic Wilderness over here. We'll do some Rustic Wilderness. I've been crafting at a TV tray table in front of my TV in the evenings. So I've got some stuff there and some stuff on my craft desk, and it's always fun because I'm like, what do I have where? Yeah, if you watched my craft room tour video where the room was all nice and neat, it's not like that anymore. It's a complete mess. Really need to spend some time tidying it up because, yeah, it's getting to be too much for me. But I just don't have the time, and I'd rather spend the time I do have, like my spare time, crafting. All right, let's put this one in. Let's see if this one's gonna fit as it should. No, all of them are off. I think it's because when you score, the score itself takes up some room, because yeah, every single one of these slightly off or slightly too wide. I think it might have occurred that I might not have prepped enough stuff to fill the entire 45 minutes. What? Craziness, I know. That never, ever, ever happens. But I could be getting ahead of myself because, you know, it's me. And I always think I'm going to get more done than I do. And I think it's too tall, but I figure if the vellum's hanging over the top, I can always go back in and trim it off from the top. All right, let's glue this one down. So yeah, that was Friday's excitement, a trip to the vet's office. Never my favorite thing to do. And of course it was, you know, an expensive trip to the vet's office because they did lab work and the vaccines and all that good stuff. So, but it is what it is. So that was Friday. Oh, last weekend, Dad and I went and saw Lord of the Rings. What is it? Is the Two Towers the second one? In concert, which I know I've mentioned before on my channel. It's what they do is they play the movie on a big screen and then remove the soundtrack and have, you know, the local orchestra or philharmonic or whatever it is perform the music. So we got to listen to the Orlando. I can never remember if it's an orchestra or a philharmonic, and I can never remember what, like, I have no idea what the difference between the two is. One of these days I'll look it up, but we went down to the Dr. Phillips Center for that, and it was most excellent. Thoroughly enjoyed the show and the movie, and the music was fantastic. And I've got a dog barking. May have to go out and deal with them. Again, I'm just slivering a little off. All right, so my suggestion would be cut these pieces of hair narrower than your book page measurements, because yeah, none of these seem to be fitting properly. All right, put that in place. And that is shorter. What did I do? So I thought I had these all prepped properly. Goodness gracious. Did I not cut a single thing straight? Is that the problem? Did I not cut anything straight? Which is entirely possible. I mean, with the book pages, you know, there's a chance that they're less likely to be straight than, you know, modern paper. And I'm just gonna trim that off after I glue this in. Figured that'll be easier than measuring. Yeah, because look at that. That guy was, meh. None of this is straight. Oh well. I'm okay with straight-ish. Because I would drive myself mad if everything had to be perfectly straight, because I'd be redoing things all day long. I'd never get anything done because, yeah. Let's see, this one I've got a little bit of ripping in the paper going on, so this might be a gets washy piece. There we go, that one's done. Where is the other one that needs washing? Okay, I have a piece that went missing. So I was like, what color washi do I need to get? And I can't find the piece that needs washi. All right. This one I have a feeling is not straight either. And this is partially because the paper's all kinds of warped. Because what I do is to clean off, this was a stamp. I have an old copy of the American Historical Review. And I stamp it off onto the pages so that I get inky book page to play with. So that's what this is. And so it's kind of hard to cut things straight when the paper's not lying completely flat. So let's see, how well did I do on this one? Let's use this because I can try and cut this piece straight at least. All right, I am definitely missing one of the pieces that I stuck off to the side. Seems to have disappeared. Don't know where. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. It was blending in with my table. Okay. So yeah, Dad and I did that last last Sunday, which would be 2 Sundays ago when this airs, because I'm actually filming this on Sunday, which yesterday was the Tim Holtz Ideology release live. Did you watch it? Oh my God, so many fabulous ideas. So much. And of course I ended up buying a whole bunch of stuff that I probably don't need because I have stuff that I need to use. But it's one of those things, it's a seasonal release, and once they sell out, they're gone, and there's no guarantee anything that came out from this release is going to be back next release. So yeah, it definitely encourages me to pick up the stuff I want, because I may not be able to get it when I'm ready to do the project with it. So yeah, I figure this is my birthday present from my dad, because he gave me money for my birthday. So I've been spending it on craft supplies because that's what I like to spend my money on. So definitely picked up a whole bunch of stuff from his Halloween releases this year. And he's got one more to go. And then he starts Christmas, which, as much as I like Halloween stuff, I am a Christmas junkie. So I suspect my birthday spending is going to dip into September when he starts doing the Christmas releases, because oof. So if you are working on a budget and like Tim Holtz stuff, if you've got to be judicious in what you are purchasing, my recommendation would be to purchase Sizzix dies and first, like that. Well, actually, if you want the fabric, purchase the fabric first, because that seems to be in the most limited of supplies, because that's a one and done run. Then probably the Sizzix dies, because they eventually retire stuff, although not necessarily right away, so it's not necessarily a one and done on the dies that get released, but Sizzix will eventually retire a die set. Then Ideology, because a lot of the stores tend to stockpile it, and it might be a seasonal release that they just do now, but they tend to produce, I think, more of it than the fabric, I feel like, because you can still find some of the stuff from last year's Ideology release available in shops. So, and then last on the list, as much as I hate to do this to Stampers Anonymous, is the stamp set, because they don't retire his stamps. So if you don't get it this year, you can get it next year, or the year after, or the year after that. So that would be my advice when, you know, if your Tim Holtz release wish list exceeds your budget, that's how you should choose what to purchase, is my suggestion. Because yeah, if you don't get the Sizzix before it's retired, you're going to be out of luck. The same with the Ideology and the fabric, whereas the stamps are around forever. All right, done with that one. So we got about 10 minutes left, and still a few to go. So we shall see. This is a little on the brittle size too. I'm definitely going to be pulling out some washi tape. So I think the fact that we've got 11 minutes left is good, because it'll give me time to pull out the washi tape. So yeah, that is what I did yesterday. That, and I had my postponed hair appointment was yesterday afternoon. And we were both happy when we realized that it was not a bleach appointment. So for my hair, which you've seen me in my opening or at the beginning of the craft room tour, my hair is short, black with streaks of blue, purple, and teal in it. And so in order to have the blue, purple, and teal show up vibrantly, every other time I go to my hairdresser, she bleaches the streaks. So she had to, for, you know, personal reasons, cancel my appointment that I had scheduled for last weekend. And, you know, basically she had to go to a funeral. And so she had to cancel all of her clients for that day and, you know, reallocate them. So she stayed a little later than usual yesterday in order to fit me in. So we were both glad when we realized it was not a bleach day so that the appointment would be shorter, because yeah, the bleach day appointments are like 3 hours. We're 3 to 3.5 hours, depending on how much chatting we do, like how distracted we are in getting it done. But yeah, it's a minimum 3 hours, sometimes a little over. Non-bleach day is 2 to 2.5 hours. We did a little bit of chatting, and she was running a little late with the appointment before me, so she got started a little late. So I think I got out at about 6:30 for my 4 o'clock appointment, but I don't think she started on my hair until about 4:15ish. And she's got a new puppy, and because she was going to be there late yesterday, she brought him with her, so he spends most of his time at work with her in his crate, but she let him out at the very end of the appointment because we were the only 2 people left. So I got to spend a little bit of time playing with her new puppy, which of course meant when I got home, Powell's nose was glued to my leg because he was like, "Where have you been and who have you been petting? This is not right, Mom." All right, this one needs to get inked too. I'm not liking how white it is. Let's grab this. Is that the right brush? No, that's not right. The right brush. Did I put the brush back? I put the brush back. Oh, no, that's it. And actually, let's go ahead and do this one because I know I'm going to want to ink these edges as well. Oh, and I have to say, it is stinking hot. I don't know why. I'm just like dying of the heat lately. I think it might be a little bit in the way of hot flashes because, yeah, I'm not exactly a spring chicken. So yeah, I'm like sitting here, and between the heat because it's August in Florida and we've had like record heat lately. I'm dying. And yesterday I was dying of the heat, and what I will sometimes do is turn the AC down just like a degree. Like I usually keep it at 78 in the house. And so before going to bed, if I've been feeling it's been particularly warm, I might drop it down to 77. And yesterday, before I went to my hair appointment, I realized I had dropped it down Friday night and hadn't, when I got up, turned it back up to 78. So before I left for my hair appointment, I bumped it up, and I accidentally bumped it up to 79. And I was like, oh, that's fine. The dogs will be fine. You know, Powell's gonna sleep, and Bert spends a ridiculous amount of time out in my yard, which I think I can see him. I think that's what I'm looking at. Like my yard's still overgrown, and I still need to go out there and do some pruning back. So I think that brown lump I see out in the yard is him and not plants, but I may have to go check him here in a sec, and we're almost out of time. So I may pause it just because with the escape into the neighbor's yard the other day, I just don't want to risk having to go fetch him because it's a pain in the neck. All right, I will pause this and be right back. All right, start that back up again. And I probably should have, while I had it off, gone and grabbed some washi tape. And yes, the brown spot I thought was him in the yard was not him, but he is in the yard sniffing around, tracking who knows what that may have at some point walked through the yard. Let's go ahead and fold and snip this one. It seems a little bit more than 1/4 inch. But yeah, he is very much a Florida yard dog. He likes being out in the yard. Like, he'll just lay out on the screened-in porch in the heat, and I'm like, dude, really? Whereas my other dog is very much a pampered house puppy. Like, he's like, I will go out for a while, and then he'll be like, it's hot, I'm coming inside, Mom. I would like to lay down on the dog beds. And he will go and lay on the dog bed or the couch. He definitely does not love days when I spend a ton of time at my craft table, because he also would much rather be snuggled on the couch with me. That's his preferred place to be. All right, I don't like how uneven that is, so I'm gonna trim a little bit of this off, and I'm gonna grab my bigger scissors so that I can hopefully trim it straight-ish. All right. Glue these in, and I think we'll have enough time to put the washi tape on the few that need washi tape, and that'll be it. But on the upside, we'll have managed to get everything I planned done instead of me having a bunch prepped, half prepped and waiting but not finished. Oh, I love this paper. It's so pretty with the pumpkins. And Bert has now moved himself onto the screened-in porch, so I don't know if this means he's getting ready to sack out on the screened-in porch or what. Which is always nice, because I can then see him very easily from my the window next to me. All right, let's glue that. That. And then I need to go grab some washi for the few that need washi. So let me do that. All right, so I've grabbed some washi. Let's find the ones that need washi tape. This one is a little cracky. Fine. This one's fine. This one's fine. This one definitely cracked. This one's fine. Fine. And this one. Okay. I think I like this one for it. Now, washi is a low-tack temporary tape, so I am going to use some glue along the edge here to make sure our washi stays, and I am going to fold it over, and that will ensure our pocket stays closed. Oh. Got that one. Let's do this side, and our alarm's probably going to go off before I finish doing these, because I think it's going to take me more than a minute to do all three. So I will probably stop it here in a sec so that we don't have the loud noise of it going off. I'm gonna stop it, or I'm gonna try and stop it, and we're just gonna finish these up because it's only gonna take me a minute or two, a couple minutes. So yeah, instead of wrapping the book page around, you could totally just do the washi tape along the edges. All right, so we got that one fixed. Let's do, I'm trying to decide, do I want to use the same one, or I got out this one. Let's go ahead and try this one on there. And I think both of these were from like a big pack of washi I bought on Amazon. Which definitely very low tack. Like all the washis I've bought, it's the least sticky. Kind of the, if you don't use glue, it's not going to stay at all, versus some other washi tapes where it's like, well, if you don't use glue, it may come off eventually, but it's stuck on now. These are definitely the, you need glue to keep it stuck. All right, so we've got this one, which I stamped on the coffee dyed vellum for, let's clear some space so you can actually see what we did. We've got this one, which is a printable, and this one, all three of those we reinforced with washi along the edges. Then we've got this one, which is a printable. This one, which is some vellum I bought from Michael's last year. We got a Christmas one. And then these two Halloween ones using store-bought vellum. And another digi, and that one, and that one, and that one. So we got done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pockets. Wow, I think that's possibly a record for Mass Make Monday. We did really good this time. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.